Hello there, everyone. How you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r/prorevenge, where people get revenge in the best way possible. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below if you want to keep your kneecaps. Now, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Fired from my job, but I received a year's worth of pay and got my boss fired. This happened in the early 2010s, before the advancement of technology in video editing and content creation. I was hired as a content creator for a university that wanted to leverage YouTube to kickstart their branding campaign. The pay was low, roughly 2200 USD, and in those days there were not many video content creators around, and the process usually took a long time from start to finish. I was hired, and on my second day, my manager presented my KPI of 85, 3 to 10 minute videos in 52 weeks, which was impossible for a one-man team in those days. This meant I had to do the scripting, producing, casting talents, shooting videos, composing music — they were too cheap to pay for a royalty-free music subscription — and editing, all of which I had to use my own equipment and software because their cameras and computers were so old they simply couldn't handle the strain of even doing things in 720p, much less 1080p. I tried to let my manager know, but she just smiled encouragingly, telling me to give it a try, assuring me that if the videos were good, the quantity would not but be what she focused on. Hearing this, I agreed to give it a try. My manager treated me well in the first month. However, one day when she found out I was a smoker, her attitude changed overnight. A colleague had actually done a facepalm when I told her about it, and she let me know that the manager hated smokers and often advocated to get them fired. She started nitpicking on me for everything, from smelling like cigarette smoke after my breaks, coming in 5 to 10 minutes late despite doing more than 4 hours of overtime daily, not being contactable during break times. The list goes on, but I soldiered on because I wanted to do the work and do it well. 5 months in, I was called into the director's office where I saw my manager putting on her best "Oh, I'm so displeased, but I'm oh so gleeful" face, and I felt my stomach drop. The director told me that she was disappointed because she heard that I was falling behind on my work, and it was already halfway through the year and I only had completed 30 out of 85 videos. I was trying to explain that I had been working my butt off on these videos, and I literally worked 6 days out of the week over 60 hours just to do what was needed to be done, and that being a one-man army made things impossible, and also the fact that the videos I had put up grossed the highest views ever on their YouTube page. I also recounted how my manager said she was looking for quality videos over quantity. The director dismissed this and stated that KPI was simply 85 videos in a year, and since it was almost half a year in with my numbers at less than half, she felt it prudent to cut the cord early. I asked how they would even meet the KPI if they were to fire me now. My manager had snorted, saying, "We'll find a professional production house to finish your work." The director had given her an odd look, but nodded in her support nonetheless, telling me, "You don't need to worry, manager will get the job done." And that was when a light bulb went off in my head. Seeing as I was the content professional in the office, one of my jobs was to keep a database of production houses to use in the event we needed to do a shoot that required more resources. And I was sure they'd be using the production houses in my database, as my manager had no contacts in the production industry. So I changed the production numbers and messed up all the emails on all of our entries except one. The one. I had a friend working as a junior director, not an assistant director, but a director assigned to smaller video projects. I gave him a call and told him of my plan, and sure enough, within 2 days they were called in to come to pitch. I told him that I had a plan that was a win-win for us. It would instantly help him and put him on the fast track to be a director position by bringing in that much business to his production house, and it would also benefit me financially. I would teach him exactly how to pitch to win over the boss and the director, and in turn, his company would pay me a standard finder's fee of 15%. He agreed instantly and immediately put me on the line with his general manager, who, upon realizing this was to be 6 months of work for a high 6-digit payout, instantly agreed and drew up a contract. As it turns out, I gave them a metaphorical step-by-step playbook. They were the perfect fit, somehow understanding the needs and style of the university, as well as the sort of themes the university wanted to feature. The director and my former boss were amazed that my friend's production house was so familiar with their content that they signed them up on the spot. Now, even back then, using a production house back then was not cheap. Each video they produced could cost double to triple my monthly salary, given that they had specialized people for each function. Producer, director of photography, gaffer, sound person, video editor, assistant director, so on. So yes, they produced 50 videos in a span of 4 months for over 100 months of my salary, and I sat back and collected that healthy 15%. Which was about 15 months of my salary. They allowed me to put money aside for a holiday, and to rest my further studies with a respected film school overseas. I thought my plan ended here and I got back at my former bosses, but to my surprise, I received a call from my colleague while I was holidaying in Bali one summer. This was the same colleague who had facepalmed when I told her that my manager had found out that I was a smoker. She told me that former manager had been fired and my director given a massive blasting by the chancellor of the university. The content creation project, which I was hired for, was only given a budget equating to about 1.5 years of my salary, and they had exceeded that budget by over 10 times. My former manager was so desperate to ensure they got done so that she could show my director she had completed the project, and I had approved the massive spend without getting consent from my director. So that is how I got my friend a super fast promotion to a full director in his production house, and 1 year of pay after getting unfairly fired from my job. People who have never done video editing have no clue how laborious that shit is. I can't even imagine people that produce CGI. The disrespect that the creatives get from people who have never done these types of jobs is so hard to believe. I edit my own videos. I can say very well, this shit is tough. You need to learn how to streamline your projects, and honestly, auto captions are a lifesaver. Anyway, on to the next story. Threaten my friend with revenge porn. I will ruin your whole damn life. My very good friend made some slightly dumb mistakes and sent some pictures to someone she reasonably thought she could trust. But not knowing much more than his first name, his screen name, and roughly where he lived and the type of work he did, he is not in our country, but had indicated he would be traveling for work to us, near us shortly. And they had made some plans to meet. And when she got some red flags and backed out, the dude threatened to publish these pictures online. Incidentally, I'm an attorney, so some searching later and gathering up any pictures he sent her of him that could possibly identify him, his online handle led me to a TikTok page, which led me to an Instagram page with his name on it. This led to a LinkedIn page with his place of work that matched a picture he sent with a branded polo he was wearing. Some more searching got me the email of the CEO, Vice President of HR, Operations Manager, and Public Relations Manager. I just fired off an email on behalf of my client of the screenshots of him threatening revenge porn. Snippets of the conversation showing that username while he sent the exact picture of him wearing his company's branded apparel. Links to how I know it's him, along with pictures he sent of along with pictures he sent her of his motorcycle, with a license plate showing as further proof it is him. I also included screenshots of him discussing a workplace incident that was time-stamped, along with pieces of dialogue discussing how he had naughties with his ex at a place of work, and discussing plans to have naughties with her in his office as well. I also included a picture he sent her showing his work laptop with his entire Outlook calendar, along with proprietary information, which he sent to prove he was busy, along with other pictures he took of his workplace with non-consenting employees. I further informed the employer that I will be forwarding all this information to local law enforcement, and since he had indicated that he would be traveling to the United States soon, I forwarded this to the local office of the FBI. Since my client is a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil, these threats constituted a federal crime, so that should they continue with his employment and continue with their plans to send him to the United States for work, I will ensure on behalf of my client that federal law enforcement is waiting for him on his arrival, which I will do as one of the assistant U.S. attorneys for this region is a law school buddy of mine. Since I have his license plate, I know where he lives, and will be contacting his local authorities tomorrow. You dumb motherfucker, thinking you were hiding around I can't pronounce that. Thinking you could threaten my friend? It took me 45 freaking minutes to destroy your life. I feel like you win 2025. That's like legit revenge. Person's life is now super fricked, and it's done in record time. You win pro revenge for 2025. Oh my god. Now on to the next story. Today I effed up by being an asshole on the internet and causing a stranger to get divorced. I'm cross-posting this from today I fucked up. I'm not really a mean person and genuinely felt terrible for destroying a marriage. But the lovely users thought I should post here, though I didn't mean for the revenge to go anywhere to this level by any means. I don't even know if I meant for it to be revenge at all, but here we are. I, 42 female, screwed up big time. 2 weeks ago, on a random Thursday morning at like 1 a.m., someone started shooting off fireworks in my neighborhood. I've been having bouts of insomnia and was finally able to get sleep, and I had to wake up at 4 a.m. for a meeting 2 hours away that I had to be in for at 8 a.m. I was angry and so were my dogs. I love fireworks, but think there's a time and a place. Thursday morning at 1 a.m. was definitely not the place. I posted to the neighborhood Facebook group a few hours later during a coffee break about people that set off fireworks at 1 a.m. midweek. After I made the long drive home, I checked my Facebook. Some guy comments that I can't sleep because I'm a fat pig. Now, I'm chubby, but not sloppy fat. Plus, I just lost the equivalent of a fully grown male wombat, or 54 North American gray squirrels. So I feel pretty awesome about myself. And this is where I may have screwed up. I responded to the guy, who was maybe mid to late 30s, very early 40s, about the same age group as me. I write in the comment beneath him, "Listen, insert guy's name, I'm sorry I had to end things, but I just didn't have the same feelings. What you're saying now is just hurtful and mean. Please stop sending me messages, and commenting on my Facebook posts is just a pathetic way to contact me. I told you a dozen times already. We are done. It's over." The following day, I had to get to the airport for an out-of-country vacation that had me getting up and leaving early as hell, so I didn't check my Facebook during all the craziness. Also because I'm only on it sparingly. I don't live on my phone, and when I am, it's usually on Reddit or TikTok. I could not check my Facebook even if I wanted. I was on a crew. Not paying $25 a day for internet, and the country we visited didn't really have the greatest Wi-Fi. Besides, I was having a blast leaving the chaos of the world behind. I signed on Monday night, and holy crud. Apparently, people took this seriously and told his wife. She was freaking out on me, pleading for information, sending me messages. Her and his friends were DMing me. He was DMing me. It was bad. The last message was the guy saying I'm a total cunt because I refused to tell the truth and I destroyed his life. I immediately messaged both him and his wife explaining what happened. I sent pics of me on vacation, even timestamped. Apparently he's a serial cheater, and when I exposed our quote-unquote affair, another woman exposed her affair with the husband to the wife, because the affair partner was jealous that he had yet another side chick. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, because not only of the multiple affairs, but because he humiliated her with how public it was, especially it being a neighborhood group. So there's my accidental pro-revenge. You don't need to feel bad. He was gonna get divorced eventually. Better sooner than later. You don't need to feel bad, OP. Not at all. Anyway, on to the last story of the day. Metered on ramps. Back when metered on ramps were first installed on the main highway in my town in Oregon, the interval between lights on the ramp I used daily was 15 seconds. Cars would be backed up onto the adjacent feeder streets, and you could be stuck 15 to 20 minutes on the ramp. Took a bit of research to find out that it wasn't the city or county, but ODOT, Oregon Department of Transportation, that controlled them. After repeated complaints and no action, I finally got the names of 2 ODOT traffic engineers responsible for setting the light intervals. I made numerous voice calls and finally had one discussion, but still no fix to the issue. Well, back in the day, early 2000s, we still had phone books, and both these engineers had listed home phone numbers. I got a 4x8 piece of plywood and painted and lettered it, "Tired of these idiotic ramp signs? Call the ODOT engineers responsible for them. Dennis at insert phone number. Bill at insert phone number. And let them know what you think." I stood with it on one side of the ramp for 2 days. 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The next day I got a call from one of them, don't remember which, begging me to stop. And I said, "Fix the fucking lights. You'll stop with the sign? Fix the fucking lights." Okay. The very next day, they had a survey crew out there in the afternoon to count cars, and the day after that, the lights were reset to 3 seconds between cars. Bottom line, when dealing with the government, until those personally responsible are held accountable in a manner that inconveniences or scares them, they will continue to abuse the public, whether from negligence, incompetence, or malice. But bring it home to them, and they will, well, albeit grudgingly, change their ways. I did something similar with plywood in 1990. The phones were set up so you couldn't call into my rural town from a payphone from anywhere else in the county. I couldn't call home from work. I wrote out a description of the problem in polite terms on the largest piece of plywood allowed by U.S. mail. I mailed it to the phone company, executive offices in Boston. Someone from Boston called my house. I'd given them the number and told me they would fix it and gave me a number to call at their office if it ever happened again. That's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you didn't, you suck. If you're still here, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. Your kneecaps are getting confiscated. Now, I will see you all next time. Hasta la pasta.